The hardest tumble a man can make is to fall over his own bluff. Ambrose Bierce. Hey everyone. In case you've noticed from the thumbnail, this video is about the Metokur Sargon beef. I gotta tell you, I had a lot of fun making it. Thanks to the miracle of modern audio editing techniques and an entirely inappropriate sense of humor, collabing with me today is my completely and sarcastically fabricated copy-pasta version of the shitlord himself. Now, to avoid confusion, when I'm referring to Metokur, I'll refer to him as Jim. However, when I refer to my fabricated version of him, I'll be calling him Copy-Pasta Jim. This is to ensure you know which Jim is real and which one is my fabricated creation. With that out of the way, Copy-Pasta Jim, why don't you get into what this video is about?
Jim is a scared little boy who needs to bully those smaller than him. And people were tweeting about it. I think that probably meant a lot to him. Maybe he was just excitable. I mean, we can all understand that. It's a big moment in your life. He gave it his best. I mean, you've got to give him an A for effort. An A for effort. Until he decided to be a bit of a bitch. Just not a good look. He wasn't happy about it. And he blamed me, innocent me, for all the harassment he was receiving. Apparently, that's the story I'm going with. I'm the biggest piece of shit on earth. But who knows? It'll have to remain a mystery. Sadly, he did not win the day. And we are going to watch some of this. We're going to watch how a master goes about their business. Now, I want you to keep in mind, too, all right, this guy knows hot banter. Jim just wants to be one of those cool kids on the internet, but he's really a boomer. Get ready, grab some popcorn, get a fucking drink ready. Here comes the ass pounding against Jim. Oh, shit. Oh, well.
Well, damn, Copy-Pasta Jim. So it's like that, huh? Well, I guess we're just going to dive right into the shit. Here goes. In May 2018, Short Fat Tacos streamed with a former Metokur member and close friend of Jim's, Latman. In a recent stream, Jim confirmed that Latman was a member of Metokur. The SFO stream lasted for just under 2 hours, and a link to both streams is in the description. Now, because Latman jumped around a bit and kind of rambled, for the sake of brevity, I cut some of the footage out and strung it together within the context in which he said it. Latman accuses Jim of doxing him and the founder of Metokur, Haberman. For reference, the Haberman dox accusation is near timestamp 44 minutes and 54 seconds in the SFO stream. Here's that clip.
Jim had doxed me long ago. Because Jim was the one who doxed Haberman,
So, Copy-Pasta Jim, what's your take on this?
You know, one of the strange things about Latvia Man's appearance on this, and he was, by the way, a former Metokur member, is he also said that I doxed Haberman. Let me enlighten you with the story of what happened with Haberman and who doxed him. And you don't even have to take my word for this. I'm a pathological liar that totally doxed Haberman. Haberman got doxed because a fat girl got mad at him on the internet. And that is a verifiable story.
Holy shit, Copy-Pasta Jim. I had no clue you'd come out both as trans and body positive. That is so stunning and brave. The SJWs can't help but accept you into their movement now. Hell, you could even become a feminist, Copy-Pasta Jim. Now, where were we? Oh yeah. What's interesting about this is that not only did Haberman accuse Jim of doxing him, but this allegation was confirmed by both Latman and Encyclopedia Dramatica. Encyclopedia Dramatica stated on their Metokur page, eventually the site was shut down after the retard running it became an SJW, and went from promoting Metokur on other sites to promoting his future projects using Metokur. At this point, his own users just doxed him. So there we have it. Not only has Metokur been confirmed as the doxer of Haberman from 3 separate sources, Latman, Haberman, and Encyclopedia Dramatica, but Latman also confirmed Jim doxed him as well. What makes this so interesting is that Jim, for months, has maintained that Kraut is a doxer, even though everybody who ever accused Kraut of doxing either recanted their accusations or were confirmed to have lied, as in the case of conman Red Shill. Speaking of being an internet shill, at least Jim was man enough to admit that he's a super chat shill on his Sargon livestream when he said the following.
I'm going to stream snipe your stupid fat ass and make a shit ton of money off of you. Sargon of Akkad's Thinkery channel has 296,000 subscribers, and his stream had 4,500 viewers at the highest number. My channel, which has less subs than that, has 268,000 subscribers, currently has 24,000 people watching. I've got 26,000 people watching, and I'm making a ton of money. I'll let the money roll in. I'll let the viewers increase.
So, Copy Pasta Jim, what do you think of YouTube shills like Jim?
I don't know. God, that could be one interpretation. That's fair. That's one interpretation. The other interpretation might be, I don't know, I'm just spitballing here, throwing shit off the wall, seeing what sticks. Maybe YouTubers are fucking retards, and they overvalue themselves. They get a little ad revenue, a couple of super chats, and a few likes on their video, are deluding themselves, and a little bit of hubris and ego, self-satisfaction. It's called being an egotistical cunt. Oh my God, this guy, I swear. I don't know. Just spitballing.
Well, Copy Pasta Jim, I think you may be onto something. But let's move on, shall we? What are we going to talk about next?
We're going to go deep into the grooming operation. I hope you're ready. Hey, all I've got to say is kids love lollipops. All right, I'm not the bad guy here. I don't know about you, but when I hear teenagers talking in the mall, as I'm stalking them for my van, all they can talk about is, I want to build a shrine to them. I want to build them a little fucking shrine. Big boss confirmed. Now you know what I'm training those army of troll children in outer heaven to do. You train them well enough, and they're going to be pretty loyal. I'm Big Boss, and I have an army of mercenary children wreaking havoc on web forums from here to hell and back. How fucking amazing. Running a mercenary army of children trolls on the internet.
Well, I guess we're going to talk about the grooming allegations now, aren't we? But before we go on, I want to make one thing absolutely clear. I do not think Jim, or Copy Pasta Jim, is any kind of sex predator or pedophile, even though I think his friendships with underage children nearly half his age is extremely creepy and cringeworthy. With that said, there is no viable source online that discusses child grooming in the context of internet trolling. However, the source I'm citing does fit the description of what Latman disclosed in his live stream, so I'm going to be using it. According to childlureprevention.com, internet predators use the same lures online that are used offline. They typically target uninformed and unsuspecting youngsters to engage in virtual relationships by luring them with flattery, attention, and feelings of being close to an online friend. In essence, the affection lure, the friendship lure, and ego lure are being used online. Lonely, neglected, confused, and risk-taking adolescents are most vulnerable. The risk increases if they share intimate images of themselves or have inappropriate conversations. Now, what's interesting about this is that Latman admits that there were many inappropriate discussions on the bullshit forums, and that he even got another child to cross-dress and take pictures of himself, which Latman was going to use to blackmail the child. In addition, Latman also admitted that he and other Metokur members went out of their way to dox one another. Why is this important? Well, the article goes on to state, the internet predator becomes a more serious threat when they obtain a youngster's personal information, i.e. full name, phone number, address, school, sports team, convinces them to send inappropriate images, or manages to arrange a private in-person meeting. Youth who have shared too much personal information or agreed to in-person meetings without adult supervision have been robbed, assaulted, and sexually abused. Cyber predators who convince youngsters to share intimate pictures or video often use blackmail to get more images. This is known as sextortion, which is increasingly being uncovered by law enforcement. This is why it's important to remind kids to limit how much personal information they share with everyone, to keep passwords private, even from friends, and to never send inappropriate images to anyone. Okay, so now we've read the article. How is it relevant? Well, Latman tells us.
So I'm an old, I guess you could say an old friend of Jim's. I still kind of think of him as an old friend. I haven't spoken with him in a few years, but that was, in general, I think that kind of sums up what our relationship was like. Or friendship, where I would try to like follow along with what he was doing and what he was like, and he would give me some shit. And chronologically, the first thing to look at would be Bullshit forums, because that was the earliest forum that I joined together with Jim. But yeah, so Bullshit forums, it was just it was a forum that was mostly 12, 13-year-old kids all, shit posting online and trying to be funny and edgy. And
how old were you at the time?
This was 2008, 2009, so I was 14.
Okay.
And
how old was Jim? Because Jim was on these forums too.
I have one of the posts there specifically has him referencing his age, which was, I think, 28 at the time.
Okay.
But yeah, he was in his late 20s, and we were all like 13, 14. So as like Dev showed earlier, there were posts on Bullshit forums of Jim like inviting everybody to join Metokur, and what Metokur was kind of this content portal sort of that was specifically designed to troll people and fuck with them. Like Jim, for the longest time when I was young, I genuinely considered him like almost like my best friend, really, because he was massively influential for me. We talked a lot all the time, and he was like the coolest guy I knew. And because it was like I was a young teenager, I was growing up. So obviously if I looked up to him, I tried to emulate him in a lot of ways. So, he was the person who I looked up to the most in my life at that time. So back in the day, I was a really creepy, paranoid internet troll kind of person, and I was screen capping and saving everything on everybody all the time.
Now, in that clip, what Latman is describing are grooming techniques. I know because I've spent over 10 years of my life as a family law paralegal working primarily on child abuse cases, and I have seen similar patterns. But here's the thing, even adults, and especially video content creators, can be susceptible to this sort of grooming or indoctrination. The article, How Cults Work, goes into this in more detail. Cults cut off members from the outside world to produce an intense introspection, confusion, loss of perspective, and a distorted sense of reality. Cults typically instill the belief that outsiders are dangerous and wrong. Cults demand absolute, unquestioning devotion, loyalty, and submission. A cult member's sense of self is systemically destroyed. Ultimately, feelings of worthlessness and evil become associated with independence and critical thinking, and feelings of warmth and love become associated with unquestioning submission. The leader may randomly alternate praise and love with scorn and punishment to keep the member off balance and confused and instill immense self-doubt. Now, if you listen to the entire Latman stream, there are many similarities between how he was treated and classic cult conditioning. With that said, why do I think content creators are more susceptible? It's because being a full-time content creator necessarily isolates that person from the real world and makes them more susceptible to online peer pressure and emotional manipulation. It can be a slippery slope. Interestingly, when Jim ripped Sargon apart for accusing him of grooming children into becoming online trolls, Latman confessed that that's exactly what happened to him and other children. Now, let's move on. In the Metokur Sargon stream, he stated the following.
I can't say that I've ever cosplayed as another man on the internet.
Well, according to Encyclopedia Dramatica, Jim has at least 39 different sock puppet accounts and other identities he cosplays with. And those are just the ones people know about. Jim himself even confessed to V that he maintains many fake identities and YouTube channels to infiltrate and gain acceptance into communities specifically to troll them. Here's that clip.
So we'd create fake channels and then do videos based on that to ingratiate ourselves into the community. If you go look up right now, if you want to know, everybody thinks I'm Haberman, right? The dark-haired guy that I always post pictures of. If you go look up right now, Juggalos Online 666, there you go. That was our goofy attempt at getting into the fucking Juggalo community to fuck with them. So he did a video where he's like rapping as a Juggalo, talking about much motherfucking wicked clown love. Yeah, that was a channel we ran together. But yeah, you are right, though, in regards to me having a shit ton of channels and doing different content. I still do that. I have multiple channels where I do different content. And remarkably, everybody says, oh, we'll recognize you by the voice. Guess what? You don't.
What's even more interesting is that during this confession, Jim admits that Haberman's Juggalo channel was a troll channel that Jim himself helped run, which is exactly the opposite of what Jim said about Haberman in his Sargon stream. These stories are mutually exclusive. Further, Jim admits that he maintains not only sock puppet accounts, but multiple fake YouTube channels to troll different communities. In essence, Jim himself confirms he's a pathological liar, with sock puppet accounts he uses to cosplay his way into infiltrating various communities. So, shortly after Jim falsely accused Crowd of doxing, myself and another mod discovered that Jim had a data miner embedded in the Monkey Business Discord server. That mod recalls it as follows. I was in channel on Monkey Business Discord in December 2017 with Jagger when he was still on the server. He was talking about a lot of different issues, and it was noticed that his information was very extensive, much more so than you would expect from a bystander. So he was asked, "How do you know all this? Why should we believe it?" And he responded with the statement that he works for Metokur as a data miner. I remember this very well, as I immediately warned the mods in the mod channel about it. And we had a short conversation about what, if anything, we should do about it. We decided it didn't require any special action except vigilance. Then, shortly after that user confessed to being a Metokur data miner, he started creating drama on that Discord, which led to his banning. In response to being banned, he created a troll Discord server to harass the Monkey Business Discord server and ran it for months in an effort to harass and troll Monkey Business. So, at least as late as December 2017, Jim still had trolls working with him to collect data. In fact, without them, he would have never been able to make his Kraut videos, which, by the way, shared private information publicly. In other words, doxing. Are you guys seeing the same pattern I am? You see, the thing is, liars always lie, and Jim's a confirmed liar and a doxer. Now, I wouldn't even have cared about the Kraut witch hunt, except that those who falsely accused Kraut of doxing falsely accused me of it as well, which forced me to collect evidence and do a live stream exonerating myself, Kraut, and the other members of that Discord server of doxing. Had they not witch hunted me and kept doubling down when they were caught in their repeated lies about me, I would have never made this video today, or shamed any of the other potatoes who tried to witch hunt me. Because of their witch hunt, I was perma-banned from Twitter, my Twitch channel was temporarily suspended, and I successfully appealed at least 6 false flag strikes on my channel. Other content creators who associated with me had their channels and online platforms attacked as well. Some even had their channels and social media banned also. Ironic, isn't it? Jim's trolling campaign against Kraut is the reason this video exists, and Kraut and I don't even agree on everything. So now, there's one last issue I'd like to address. Jim, you don't think YouTubers matter. I understand this, and many don't. However, the reason Trump is in office and the reason the United States currently has a conservative Supreme Court is because of social media, including YouTube content creators, that got Trump elected. When the legacy media lied to the American people, it was video content creators that took the mantle of the Fourth Estate to speak truth to power. In fact, YouTube content creators matter so much that bigoted leftist politicians and big tech together are making a full court press to censor and silence online voices, including YouTube content creators who disagree with their bigoted, self-destructive, progressive agendas. Even your channel was temporarily banned. So, while you may think YouTube content creators don't matter, online video content creators are all that's left of the Fourth Estate capable of speaking truth to power. One only needs to look at the 2016 U.S. presidential election and the 2010 Arab Spring uprisings in the Middle East to understand that social media can both usher in or topple governments. So, with that said, copy pasta Jim. Do you have any closing thoughts for Jim?
Well, I think of an egotistical maniac that is really up his own ass. And that's probably surrounded by yes men that dick ride him for potential fame and money, and will never ever tell him that he's completely off the fucking rails. I'm, reminded of a man that thinks that just because he associates with people that accomplish things, that he is accomplished. He's the only retard on earth that could fuck up what it means to be vainglorious. To be vainglorious, the accomplishment has to be your own, not other people's. I understand that you're very hyped on what you're doing, but you are a fucking retard. Because I can't imagine the sort of fucking damage you are going to do to yourself and everybody around you. Because you are so fucking stupid, it's painful. You fucking rank amateur. Maybe try a little harder next time. I don't know what to tell you. You look like a fucking buffoon. This has been fun. I haven't ragged on a fucking moron like you in a long time.
Damn, copy pasta Jim. You're savage. Though, I gotta agree with you. This video was fun to make. And to the spurgs that will re over this video, I wouldn't even groom you. I'm DDJ, and this has been your dose of misandry today.